Welcome, artists, to this month's first in the Artistic Inspiration series. I'm calling this one Breath of Heaven. I invite you to join me in this pastel painting adventure where we throw stringent painting rules aside and paint like a kid again. I think you'll find this intuitive way of painting is both refreshing and freeing. Won't you join me? Hello, beautiful artist, and welcome to Monet Cafe Studio and this painting adventure that I think is just going to blow you away. This month's theme is artistic meditations, and we're enjoying the ethereal and just creative process without all the rules. And that lends us to make new discoveries sometimes. While I was creating this painting that is just so intuitive and ethereal, I wanted to try some new things and branch out, no pun intended. I literally went into my yard and got some weeds to create some mark making that was so effective. I think you're going to love it. I'll first share some of my products and my inspirational reference image, of course. My surface is by Sennelier. It's called La Carte Pastel, but this is their mixed media pad. They have another surface that is not water friendly, but this one is oh so fun. And I'm going to get creative adding some mixed media products. This is the second time I've used this surface. The first time I actually made a video sharing all of the different effects from some of the different water-friendly products such as watercolor, Neocolor 2 wax pastels, acrylic ink was above, but I really loved the effects of these Inktense blocks. And they really work great on this surface. I want to first share a bit about my source of inspiration. You know, this is Artistic Meditations. It's a series I've had for a while, but it's a chance for us to really kind of break the rules as artists and just enjoy the process. And I love to find images that are kind of ethereal and mystical and moody. And this is a reference photo from one of my patrons, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I have a section over on my Patreon page that I just started. We have all these little different chat sections where artists can add their own content. But I recently created one that's called Member Reference Photos. Look at these gorgeous photos. We can all paint from each other's reference images. I fell in love with this image from Valerie Alkire, and I hope I'm saying her name right, but she added this image and other patrons of mine loved it too, and they wanted to know as well as me, was it unaltered? And she said everything except the white sprinkles of snow that she used in or created in Photoshop. So I just wanted to take a moment and give Valerie credit for this gorgeous photo. Let's talk about these Inktense blocks. The name Inktense is what it implies. It's ink. It's literally compressed acrylic ink. And the tense part is because it's intense. It's very intense with color. Now, I bought the large set. It has literally 2 trays of colors. And I love these because I can apply these to any surface that will receive water. And they just explode with color. And you're going to see what happens when I use these. Now, these are some of the colors that I chose. You can almost see the color number on this one. I think it says 1720 maybe. They do have smaller sets, and some of these don't have the color numbers on them, but I often break them, as you can see, sometimes in little smaller pieces so that I don't have that big long stick I'm having to wrestle with. And this is definitely a mixed media painting. I'm going to use these Inktense blocks, the pastels you see behind my hand there, and also another product I'll share in just a minute. Again, we're exploring, we're breaking the rules, we're having fun. I wanted to just pan across my pastels here for you to notice how many neutrals there are. They were kind of the ones at the beginning there. So many neutral colors in this, and then some gorgeous turquoise colors. There were some greens, believe it or not, in that primarily turquoise photo, and I give an extra little pop, you guys know me if you've followed me for long, of color at the end. Some of the blues or turquoise blues that I used were from this Jack Richardson hand-rolled set. I love these turquoise colors. Now keep in mind, Jack Richardson has 2 types of pastels. One's just the Jack Richardson pastels. They're a little harder. These are the hand-rolled pastels, and they are softer and get more vibrant color. Now here's the other product that I use. It's Daler Rowney acrylic ink. I get so creative with this, you're gonna just be blown away. Well, I already said it at the beginning of the video, how I use my garden weeds, and this is the product I use to get a really neat effect using my weeds. Now, I'm going to start a sketch. Now, I'm using a Tombow marker. This is just a marker that has two sides. One is a thicker nib to it, and one is thinner. I'm using the thinner nib, and I'm speeding this part up. If you're a patron, you're getting lots of real time in this video, but I am speeding up just some sections that you get it. But why am I using a marker versus a charcoal pencil? Well, I'm going to be adding water to this with my water-based mediums, and I don't want it to disappear. So this marker will do the trick, and it's kind of a gray color. And by the way, my surface size is 12 inches by 12 inches, not the exact proportions of the reference image, but again, I'm just getting intuitive with this. All right, we're starting with the ink tints. I want to say acrylic ink because it is ink. The ink tints blocks, I'm using this pretty magenta color. And no, in the reference image, there's not really any magenta there. There is some warmth in the image, but I thought this color would really cause some of my flower heads just to pop. And by the way, these are Queen Anne's lace flowers. If you've ever seen those flowers, I love to paint those flowers, but they're weeds themselves now. They've dried up the flowers and the snow has fallen inside of the empty flower heads. It's just so ethereal and gorgeous. All right, so I added a little bit of orange down there in the flowers above the pink, and now I'm adding that pretty little mossy green just to some of these areas where I could see some of the green on the stems of some of the secondary flowers. And now I'll be adding that pretty bright bluish turquoise color. Now, for the most part, I am using what's called local color, meaning the colors that are in the reference image. Oh, I held my finger up. I wanted a different color. Oh, I think I'd go get some purple. Yeah, I wanted some purple in the shadows. But as you can see, I have embellished a little bit of the color, but I haven't done a primarily like complementary underpainting. I'm doing most of the colors that are somewhat similar. And what I'm doing here is basically going to result in an underpainting. It literally means a painting under the painting. It's where you get down loose strokes of color and value. You can choose to wet it or not wet it, but it kind of sets the foundation for your painting. And it also lends itself to impressionism. I love painting in this way. Do you have to use an underpainting? No, but it is a lot of fun, and I absolutely love the results. Now, I also loved the fact that the flower heads are already light because of the snow. I chose not to cover them up too much with some of this color. So I'm going to let some of the colors kind of bleed as I add the water. But, oh, can we see that color number? Not really. This blue is a little bit darker. That's why I wanted to show it. And there are areas in this where there's deeper color around some of the flowers. But again, I'm going to allow some of the color to drip into the flower heads, but I wanted to keep that lightness inside of the flowers. At least for the moment. And I love to stress these artistic meditation type of experiences because they are not only fun, but they will loosen you up. And I think you'll see amazing results in your final paintings. All right, it's time to add some water. I just have my handy dandy little ball water jar, and I'm going to use this brush. I love it. It's very textural, and people ask me where I get this brush all the time. Someone said it looks like a turkey basting brush. I don't know. Maybe it is. I won't baste a turkey with it after using it so much, though, I promise. That was a paper towel. I'm just showing I use it to control the water. Now I'm speeding this up with the water because I think you can see the effects actually better with a little speed demo here. I'm kind of working from the top down. I am using directional strokes with a very loose and gestural feel, working around the flowers a bit. And I'm not fussy. Oh, I see my directional strokes. They're pulling those ribs or that little skeleton of the Queen Anne's lace ribs up and around this flower. You notice how my mark making is shaping over these elements to emulate their form and three-dimensional quality. And I would say, a medium amount of water on it. You want your water not so thin that it doesn't have any drippage, but not so much that it's just dripping all over the place. And again, that's why I use my paper towel. And this really does get easier the more you do it. The first time I tried this, it was a mess. So that's why I encourage small studies and doing things like this where you're just playing And it already feels artistic, right? Let me zoom in here. This is once it's dry. It does lighten a little bit when it dries, but look at all that movement and life. And now here come my little garden weeds. And I can't tell you, I loved this effect. I may have tried something like this years ago, but I don't think I had results quite as effective as I did this time. Now for my Patreon version, from here forward, there's a lot of content that's real time with me actually talking while filming, not doing a voiceover. And here on my Monet Cafe channel, you're going to get some more great content. But if you would like to become a patron to get all of the goodies I'm always talking about, super easy. It's only $5 a month and you unlock hundreds of videos and you join a beautiful family. We have contests. I get to see your work. It's a wonderful, happy place. Now, I just so happen to have a coupon code to get 25% off my annual Patreon membership. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/Susan Jenkins. Use that coupon code before November 27th. That's my Thanksgiving gift to you. And now I'll walk you through a speed version of this painting, but I want to encourage you to stay to the end where, no, I'm not going to have a glass or a bottle of wine. I'm going to show you my technique for creating very delicate and effective snow. Before I speed things up in this video, I want to show you the creative way I use these weeds from my yard. I happened to notice that they were similar in shape as some of the ribs or that skeleton of the Queen Anne's lace flower. And I'm going to use acrylic ink to lay my garden weed down into it and press onto this surface. I first started with an acrylic ink that was called Indigo. It's that pretty first blue color. I decided I wanted to give it a little warmth, so I added another color called Purple Lake and then one called Sienna. And I kept them loosely mixed as I dipped my weeds into them. And the reason I'm using these weeds is there's nothing really like nature that can get that organic shape and that very fragile shape. Can you imagine if I was trying to do this with a soft pastel? I don't think I could have gotten that organic spontaneity. And I was so impressed at how much this really emulated those ribs or that skeleton of the Queen Anne's lace that's lost its flower, but still has those delicate organic ribs for the snow to fall into. And you can see I grabbed a plastic palette knife and I thought this would help me, and it did, to press these weeds into the surface without using my fingers. And now I'm using one of the stems just to get that organic, very fractured and gestural shape of the stem in the distance. And then I tried a little paintbrush. This one is very thin, just to see how it would behave. And I thought I'd splatter a little of the acrylic ink throughout the painting, and I loved this. Now, one of the reasons I put the acrylic ink on at this stage is you couldn't have applied this wet media after the pastels. I had to do it before. And this is the point where I am finally applying the soft pastel. I really love this mixed media approach with pastel painting because I feel like the other mediums could really give me that organic and luminous technique and effect. I'm zooming in here so you can see the texture and just the looseness much better. And I really liked the painting at this stage. But as I mentioned, this is part of the artistic meditation series over on my Patreon page. And this month theme of artistic meditations is my series and again, my monthly theme where we paint without the rules and just enjoy the process without worrying so much about the final product. So this was an experience for me and an exploration as much as it was about the final painting. And oh my goodness, did I learn a lot. Now here's where I'm actually adding some of the snow that's filling these ribs. And I just thought the concept of this was so beautiful, how even something that looks like life is over can have beauty and meaning and bring beauty and hope to others. And here is my snow trick that I promised. I've laid my painting flat, and because this surface, the Sennelier Le Carte mixed media card, has texture to it, I'm going to dust some pastels on top of it and use a sheet of glassine and a wine bottle. Like I said, no, we're not having a party here. That would be fun. This is a very good brand, by the way. Bogle Merlot is awesome. And I'm going to show you how to press some of this pastel dust into the surface.
I've pulled my pastels over next to me, and I've gotten an X-Acto blade. I usually use a little cheese grater to do this, but it's at my other house. I don't live at this house anymore. And so I'm going to just delicately take my X-Acto blade and just scrape and dust some of the particles onto this pastel surface. Now, I have noticed that different pastels behave differently. The very soft ones were the one you just saw before where I zoomed in. They get more of a fine dust. But some brands of pastels will give you some bigger chunks, and if they're too large, you can just lift them out of the way like I did here. All right, I am happy with my dust. I'm going to place a piece of glassine, is a product you use to protect pastel paintings, but you could use tracing paper. And I'm just placing it down, and I'm taping it because I don't want it to wiggle while I'm pressing. And I take my wine bottle, and I just start pressing and rolling in different directions, and pretty hard too. And I lift up the edge just to see how it's behaving. Now, I have noticed sometimes if your paper shifts, you'll get a dust that's too blurry. And I really liked the effects of this one. So I feel good about this. And I took it outside, tapped it off. Some of it falls off, but not all of it. And I'm going to sign my painting now. But like I said, I love to add a little pop of color at the end of a painting. And I thought this pinkish magenta just gave it a beautiful little pop of color. Now for my signature. And I've started to add a little Christian fish into my signature. This is the first time I ever did it. So if you ever see that signature, it's one of my newer pieces. Now, if it's still available as of the showing of this video, I do have this painting in my Etsy shop. And I want to let you know that I have a coupon code right now as of the making of this video for 10% off. And the code is SAVE, S-A-V-E 10. And I must say, I thoroughly enjoyed the process of this painting, but I did like the final product too. Remember, if you're a patron of mine, you'll be getting extra goodies of my color notes, reference images, and more. And remember, if you'd like to become a patron, until November 27th, there is a 25% off the annual discount with that coupon code. And I had a little fun in Photoshop. I wanted to explore this as a wide format, so I created this image, and I think I would like to paint it again in a different format like this. And my patrons have access to this reference image as well. All right, everyone, I hope this blessed you. If you're still here by the end of the video, I'd appreciate it if you'd give me a like, a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and by all means, subscribe to my channel. And as always, God bless and happy painting.